Hi, I'm KS Garner, and you're listening to the solonerdbirdpodcast. Today, I'll be speaking with the writer and creator of the comic series Offspring, Adam Downing from BreakThru Comics, here to promote its newly released issue 2. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us on the show. For those who are or frequent listeners of the show, I posted a panel that I did, the first recorded panel that I did back in November, and Adam was on that panel with Mitch Bastilles the last time. So the questions are pretty much going to be the same, but we're solely focusing on Adam and his projects today, and not me rambling and Mitch and his stuff. So outside my introduction, who is Adam Downing in his own words?
Adam Downing is a guy, just a regular guy who likes to tell stories. He's a guy with an imagination, I'd say. Yeah, I'm a 28-year-old accountant by trade, writer by night. I like to write comics. I like to, you know, come up with vivid stories in my head and put them on a page. So.
Uh, I actually used to work in accounting like 6 or 7 years ago. That's when I actually started writing my first book. I used to write them on sticky notes, and then when I was working in accounting, so down at the casino downtown, I actually kind of liked that job. It was the people I didn't like working with, but I think that's pretty much every job. Yeah, but what is Offspring about, and what should readers expect from issue 2 out now?
Offspring is about a a lonely stoner who's down on his luck. He's stuck in a dead end job. It follows our protagonist Riker. And one night he's out doing his thing, taking some photos, and he runs into some werewolves, and chaos kind of ensues from there. So, the series as a whole, Offspring, I like to compare it to the Underworld movies. It's really that type of vibe. It's, the human protagonist kind of gets, well, I guess the protagonist wasn't exactly human in the Underworld, but still it's like a human gets thrown into this supernatural world, and he's kind of caught up in the middle between two sides in the middle of a war, and he's just trying to, kind of make it out, survive, I guess. What readers can expect from the second issue of Offspring is more world building and more context to the story.
Mhm.
Issues number 2 and 3 specifically are going to shed a lot of light on like the history of the Lycans. So you can, readers can expect more context to this, the world of Offspring as a whole. They can expect action. Just as always, they can expect more magic. And yeah, it's yeah, that's what I get.
Yeah. Well, could you elaborate a little bit more on your creative process on Offspring as a whole? So from just a thought in your head, right, to working on it as a complete work to now promoting issue 1 and 2.
My creative process, I'm pretty formulaic, regimented. It's really the same thing every time with me. Which is I always start, when I have an idea, I just dump it out on a page in a notes app or a Google Doc. I just try to get all of the, I think about things like movies, I guess. So I just try to get all of the scenes that I have constructed in my head onto a page. And then from there, I'm a huge proponent of John Truby's The Anatomy of Story as a way to structure one's stories, whether it be a film, comic, novel, any whatever the medium is, regardless of medium. I usually start with that model. And yeah, I mean, I try to, out of all the ideas from the brain dump, I try to take everything that like correlates to the beginning of that movie or story in my head, and then just take that, and then from there just fill out the first issue. Like, how does the story start? What does the pilot look like? A lot of my stories, honestly, like if you look at them, they all start the same way. It's always a protagonist who's they're living their life. They may have their own set of problems, and then, you know, something happens and it completely flips their world upside down. And you know, that's usually how the first issues start. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I just ramble. But yeah, once I have that first issue structured and like specifically summarized, like all of the events and details, like very like all the details worked out, I just start scripting. Um, you know, script out a first issue, get it edited. I usually run to my boy Carl Shinyama. He did both issues of Offspring, and he's doing some of our upcoming stuff as well, editing and formatting on the script as well. But yeah, once you got the, you know, I usually do like one round of edits, you know, get them back from Carl, um, go through them, make my last like round of edits and tweaks, and then it's off to the illustrator.
Yeah, yeah. So I think Offspring, I guess issue 2, this one that just came out, was actually supposed to be on Kickstarter, right? But you just recently launched it just on its own without Kickstarter. So did something happen that you don't mind sharing? Why was this the best way forward for Offspring 2 instead of the Kickstarter route?
Quite frankly, it was a result of like a lack of marketing for issue number 2. Um, I think it's a very important, I guess, lesson, or it's anybody who's trying to create comics, I guess, should understand that like this is something I'm learning and having to, you know, put into effect with these next couple projects, is that like while you're writing your project, you should also be marketing. Like while it's getting made, while your comic is getting made, you should be marketing like every step of the way. Even so, we'll take it back to the last question with like the process. Like even around like you do your brain dump, even like after say like after you do your first brain dump, start thinking about like who is this story for? Like who are your readers? Like, and then, you know, as you start to, you know, get it summarized and scripted and whatever, you know, yeah, just keep thinking about that. Like thinking about where are your readers, where can you meet them, how can you target, you know, whatever ads are going to run on social media, what pockets of social media are you going to be, you know, having to go to and interact with, you know, to bring your story to. um and just get like a solid detailed plan. Like as you write your story, you should also be writing your marketing plan. um and I'd say like once illustration starts happening is when you should start putting that into effect. Like once you start getting, you know, pieces of concept art or posters, what have you, panels, um yeah, like you should kind of, that's when you should start like posting them up, like reaching out to those circles, like whatever your plan is, like incorporate those into that. And yeah, I mean, even specifically like with Kickstarter, I'd say, and this is something I've noticed, like as I've been looking at people on Twitter, um, I noticed that they're the creators that I look at on Twitter, they've had their campaign, like they've had their Kickstarter pre-launch pages like done and like ready, and they've been pushing them for like months and months and months. Like I'd
Mhm.
estimate it's like 4 to 6 months at this point before they even launched. And I looked at a couple of them launched today, and I looked at them like I saw them this morning. I got the notifications. I was you know, I actually pledged to them, but I saw when they launched. I saw like within the first hour they passed like 3, 4, 500, and then, you know, I checked back later today, and I noticed all of them. One of them was like hit like their goal because it was like a lower goal, but another of them like I'm pretty sure they hit like $1,000 or $2,000 today because they had hundreds of people sub to their Kickstarter pre-launch pages, and because they've been talking about this stuff for the last like 4 to 6 months over social media and pushing people to these pages over that, you know, span of time. So that's something that I would recommend that anybody who wants people to, anybody who's making a comic who wants people to read that comic, I recommend that you do that. That's something that I'm having to do with these next projects and all my projects moving forward. So
Well, we'll talk about more about the future projects further down the line. But how has the process collaborating with others on Offspring been for you? I know Martin, is it Martin Brush? That's the illustrator for Offspring, right? So how did you know he was the right person to work with?
Just seeing his, I saw his art. You know,
So he was the only person that you considered, or were there other people as well?
I think as I was writing it, that's a good question. I'd say as I was writing it, and this is usually like, you know, back to the process, when I have an idea, yeah, I'd say around the brainstorm, even hell before the brainstorm, like once I have the idea and I know, like, you know what you kind of like want your stuff to look like.
Mhm.
So like, yeah, I'm always, quite frankly, ever since I'd say Project Angel or Offspring one dropped, I've always been like looking at artists. Like I always keep an eye on artists and see like and reach out and like connect with people and like tell like, you know, let people know their work is dope. But like and just be like, yeah, I'm always making connections. So but all right, sorry, I'll be rambling. But all right, Martine, yeah, I mean, I'm just I don't know, I was browsing Facebook groups one day and I saw him post up some work and I was like, that's super gritty. It's like, yeah, so it was perfect. It was just it looked perfect.
Mhm.
And I mean, I think a lot of people who see it, like anybody who like flips through Offspring and they like when they hear me talk about the story, the number one comment I get is like the art matches the story, like the art matches the vibe, and I agree. And I
Yeah, it does.
what drew me to it, like it just does, right? So yeah, it's perfect timing, I guess, on social media.
Uh-huh. Well, you also created a series called Project Angel. So how has that been working? How has it been working on that series differ from Offspring? Like that whole process of everything, because like the art style is different. You have, multiple characters versus the one protagonist that you have in Offspring. So like how was the, I guess maybe writing process or brainstorming process or, the storyline and then because like I say, you have multiple people or multiple characters to consider versus with just one in Offspring.
That's very true. Um, that's actually, yeah, that's a good observation and a good point and a good question. Um, I never thought about that. That's crazy. Yeah, you're right. It's so the answer. Um, sorry, just to make sure I got your question was like, how was the process of writing Project Angel different from Offspring?
Yeah, how does it differ from Project Angel to Offspring?
So the answer to that question is that Project Angel was like the first comic I ever wrote. So um God, that's such a heavy
Yeah.
question to answer because it's
So,
yeah,
so I guess so it would be. I guess we can just start simple. So, how was the creative process for Project Angel? So, how did you come up with the idea of that? And then it's pretty much the same thing over again, but on Project Angel.
yeah. So basically, I had a I had a comic idea for what would end up being like the sequel series to Project Angel.
Mhm.
Um and in like kind of developing that, or I guess in that brainstorming, brain dumping phase, I guess I kind of realized, or I just built it out to the extent that I realized Project Angel would need to precede that series. So then I started working on Project Angel. God, it was the same thing. It was like a brain dump, but that was like the first time I, you know, my dad put me on to Truby's Anatomy of Story. It's the first time I had read anything like that. First time I had like tried to write a story and like construct a series. And the process was like, it was way more like by the book than how I do things now. Like how I mentioned Truby's Anatomy of Story, like I literally like plotted out all 27 steps, 27 plot steps or whatever, and like organized every part of this series. And like you mentioned, like the two writing for two main characters, like I've charted out two different character arcs, and like for each step, how each of these guys got 27 steps dedicated to them for the plot. And yeah, it was some like manic shit. I was like, it was like on the wall, like crazy person, like fucking sorry, can I curse?
Yeah, you're fine.
All right, yeah, it was like crazy person on the wall, like fucking yeah. But it was also a lot longer. Like Offspring was like fast. I had an idea, I brain dumped it, I scripted it out, I got it edited like within a month. Because with Project Angel, I had spent like 3 years learning how to put this together.
Hmm.
So I guess concisely put, it was more of a learning curve than Offspring.
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, you already shared some advice that you have with marketing for Kickstarters with upcoming projects and whatnot. But do you have any other advice that you're willing to offer to other creators that you wish someone would have told you when you first started? Whether it be or for Project Angel and, developing that learning curve, or with Offspring and taking the information that you learned and learning new stuff as well as you went along with Offspring, because you learned something new with the whole marketing part, right? So is there anything else that you learned along the way that you wish someone would have told you when you first started?
Hmm. Yeah, I guess it would be I guess I wish somebody would have nah, I have no idea. It was just like, I don't know, hit more events, like yeah, like market yourself, network market your product, pay attention to the quality of your product. Nah, no. I haven't answered your question. I would tell any like newcomer or like anybody who's kind of confused about what they're doing is to just like somebody look at like any like indie person. Specifically, I would just tell them, look at Godhood Comics, look at Concrete Comics, um, look at God like Sand, Black Sand, Stranger, like Ray Comics. Look at any of like the leaders of like this like black indie space and just look at what they're doing. Like even I'll admit, I like that's what I like in terms of the Kickstarter thing. Like when I'm trying to like think about how I'm going to set up my Kickstarters, now I'm going back at like Godhood's like past Kickstarters. I'm like, how do they structure that? Okay, so like you should have some graphics here. Like you should kind of talk about your story here, talk about what you got, your brand here, like talk about yourself here. Like just look at how the people who did it well did it and just emulate them. Like
Mhm.
you don't have to like bite people. Like you don't have to copy people like word for word, but just like see generally how they structured things and just follow the blueprint. And that's what I would advise people to do.
Okay. Well, last up, Adam, throughout either process, do you or did you ever get overwhelmed? Does it ever become too much? And how do you typically manage your mental well-being when it does?
Mm. I- This is very, this is a very overwhelming. Somebody said there's a quote like comics will break your heart. Somebody said that. That's a thing. Like it's hard to make this. This is not a profitable industry unless you're like you have a fan base, unless you make sales, like a lot of sales constantly. And most of us are not doing that. This is it takes thousands of dollars to create one issue, and this is not even talking about printing costs, like your shipping costs. Like it's this is not, if you want to make money, this is, you don't make comics, right? You make comics because you like making comics.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just like, if you, I would tell people like specifically don't get into comics to try to make money. Like go do real estate or IT or something. Literally go do IT or real estate. But um if you want, I don't even know. Oh, you said about me personally, how do I manage my mental health? I just,
Yeah.
I'm obsessive. I'm like this is not, I don't know if I should say that, but in reality, like this is like I would compare it to like an addiction. Like this is, I'm like obsessed with this. Like I don't go to work and like to like earn money to like support myself. Like I go to work and earn money to support myself so I can make comics because I want to make comics. Like
Mhm.
um this is like this is like I will I have no problem with like going homeless over these. Like this is, I just don't. It's just like I just do it. Like I just, so I don't know. It's just an obsession for me, I guess. Uh,
I mean, I think being obsessed with your work, it can be a bit complicated. Like you love it that much that you're willing to I can say, dedicate everything to it. But at the same time, you kind of want to have some time for yourself. Like, do you do anything else just
oh,
for yourself or just like to chill or to get your mind off of comics sometimes?
I don't think I can personally get my mind off comics, but like, yeah, I don't like. I also don't have a problem with like take a break. Like if you, it's fine to like take breaks. Like if you don't want to do shit one day, that's fine. Just like do more the next day. Or don't like, but it's fine to take breaks. I don't have any problem with like taking breaks. I'll take a week off if I feel like it. Well, if I can afford it. But if not, then like yeah, you can take a day off, like not even that. You can just like ease up per day. You can still stay consistent and not like stop. Like it's just like instead of trying to hit like 5, 10 pages every night, just be like, all right, I need to hit one page a night. And it's
Mm.
like one scripted comic page is not a lot. It's actually very little. So it's like you can make it very manageable. It's not like, you know, uh you gotta kill yourself doing this. So you know.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that in there because you made it seem like that's what you were doing when you said you're obsessive. I was like, let me let him explain just a little bit more.
It's just
um,
fun. I guess it's just so much fun for me. Like
uh-huh,
this is like, I don't, even the stories that it's like you really just get to like create your own little movie world video game thing and
uh-huh.
binge.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I mean, I get it. I would work, 8 hours and come home and maybe have an hour to myself before I pulled another six with
mm,
writing my first book because I
right.
was so obsessed with it and I wanted it to, to write it down because I couldn't help myself, I get it. I totally understand, but you gotta take a breather at some point, which is what you said. So,
And
um,
I would say if it starts to feel like, oh God, fuck, I have to write, or like if it starts to feel like, oh crap, like this is like I don't want to do this, but I have to, that's when you probably need to take a break.
mhm.
Because I don't know. I find like if it gets just take a break, and usually when I take breaks, like it'll just get to a point where I kind of just get fidgety. And I'm like, I kind of want to start writing something. And it's,
Yeah.
you you just gotta let yourself recharge, and so it's fine to just back away from things and just go do something else, like play a video game or go out. You know what I'm saying? Go hang out with friends or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want to touch on about Offspring as a whole, or just issue 2 that's out now that I may have missed, or any other upcoming projects that you have?
Definitely. I mean, I want to talk about uh a couple to the next 2 books I have coming out specifically. Um, I have so sorry, I love touching my comic books. It's great. I love just holding them. Spring, Project Angel, these are under BreakThru Comics. But I've started a new company called Resolve Comics. And Resolve Comics, so BreakThru Comics, every story under BreakThru Comics is interconnected. Like these two are going to cross paths at some point. All of them are. Um, they're all interconnected in some way, shape, or form because it's the same universe, it's the same multiverse. They all occupy the same place. Um, Resolve Comics is for stories that I like, ideas that I had that I wanted to make, but that I didn't want to be in the BreakThru universe. So we got 2 stories coming out under Resolve Comics. The oops, my bad. The most, what is it? I can't find the words for it. The one that's coming sooner. Uh, it's called The Toys Who Walk. Is a my vocabulary is so bad. Um, but yeah, so uh, The Toys Who Walk. That's getting illustrated right now. It's about sentient toys. For some reason, these guys are alive, and they wake up in a room. Or it follows our protagonist, V the Vigilante. He's an action figure based off of V the Vigilante, made up
Mhm.
superhero. He wakes up in a room. The other toys, hey, you awake? Da 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 da. Explain, get him up to speed. Um, and Basically the story is, how do I say? I'm horrible at talking about my stories, but I like to say it's a cross between like Toy Story and The Walking Dead. It's like
Oh, wow.
these little people, these little beings trying to survive in this giant world where like it seems seemingly everything is out to like kill them, right? Um, so yeah, it's not like, yeah, it's gonna get a little crazy. I guess you classify it as cartoon violence, but like it's not gonna. I don't know. I don't know if it's kid friendly or not, to be honest. But
I
yeah,
mean, it doesn't sound like it is if it's a cross between Toy Story and The Walking Dead.
yeah.
No.
I don't know. I mean, it's a lot. I'm so excited about this project. It's gonna have a lot of fun things like drones, RC cars, like them just trying to. I love the idea of like little people against like huge things. So
Mhm.
um yeah, that's the toys that walk. Sorry, the toys who walk. That should be out late spring, early summer. Uh,
Mhm.
it should be complete late spring, early summer. As far as like releasing, I don't know how that Kickstarter is going to go. I guess we'll see how the pre-launch page is looking, how the marketing goes, and see if we can get a good buzz on it. And if we can, then yeah, like I said, early summer, late summer, we'll see how it goes. But
Yeah. And you mentioned there was another one, right?
there is
Mm.
super dangerous. That is needs to be edited, but super dangerous follows. How old is he? 19-year-old Jaheim Sanders. Just a regular kid, community college student. Um, Freak accident. He gets like powers. He gets like Superman level powers. So like this kid, this 19-year-old kid, he gets like Superman powers basically. Um, Flying, superhuman endurance, invulnerability, heightened senses, basically Superman. So eh, getting those powers, he kind of just like takes advantage of like full advantage, not full advantage of them, but he's like, all right, I'm gonna do it, and he just corrects everything. Like he's like pushing, fixing ice caps, pushing them together, like fucking planting rows of crops in like desolate regions, like planting like wind turbines wherever, like building hospitals, saving people from disasters, just zooming all over the place. Really cleans like the earth up.
Mm-hmm.
That's into like a UN meeting. It's like, guys, everybody's done. Like ceasefire right now. Like none. Like none. Like literally ceases all global conflicts. Like does it like I think it's like he's had the powers for 6 months when the story opens up. Yeah, so he does like all of this in the span of like 6 months. So the story opens up, he's just flying around, he's chilling. Um, and he gets a call from some shady government people. He's expecting the president to call to stream his announcement of reparations because he busted it on the president and was like, we need reparations. So he's like, cool, it's gonna happen. He picks up the phone. It's like this shady government agent guy, and he's like, we have your family, so we're here to rein your ass in. Report to Area 51, and the story kind of kicks off from there. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's kind of like a roller coaster. It's super fun. That's like the most fun I've ever had writing a story. Um, and yeah, I'm scripting it right now. Should be out late summer, early fall, something like that.
Yeah. Do you plan on attending any events that people can come and meet you at and talk with you there or anything like that?
Definitely, definitely. I can't announce any right. I can't announce some right now. I'm definitely gonna be at Map Technologies. I believe they have an event late February. Got connected with Mike, and definitely gonna like slide through there for some events. Um, where am I looking at? Oh, hopefully, yeah, Maryland Toy Expo. Maryland Toy Expo in June. I'm gonna be there. Like, should be with copies of The Toys Who Walk. So if anybody wants to get some copies of that, definitely slide through. That's gonna be like a 60+ page book, by the way. So it's gonna be like a healthy issue. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah, it's a lot.
yeah, right. Maryland Toy Expo at the beginning of June. I'm trying to get a spot in Mir. I can't pronounce it. It's like MiroQCon in Maryland at the end of September, I believe. And I think I'll do Baltimore Comic Con if I can get a spot. Try to be at Baltimore Comic Con next year.
Yeah, I was thinking of maybe doing it again, but I would definitely split a table with somebody because I'm not trying to pay off a full table by myself like I did last time. So I don't know yet. I don't know what my schedule looks like though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, have
If
you
you
tried to
are,
get into maybe BlurCon and then some other smaller stuff?
what is BlurCon?
I think I think it's in July. I believe so, like after the 4th of July.
I think it might not be BlurCon. I think I looked at it. They might be like already, like they might be sold out of tables, but I'll look again. I think one of somebody was I don't know, somebody was sold out, but I'll definitely check it out. I would love to do BlurCon. I'd love
I
to
mean,
do
I applied for a panel, do a
it.
panel again, and no one's contacted me. They never did last year when I did a panel there. They contacted me like 3 days before. It was like, did you want to do a panel? I was like, yeah, but it's like, why would you 3 days before? What if I
It's
had other
crazy.
plans to do other stuff? It's crazy. Um, so yeah, I mean, if you can get to some other local stuff, we did the Fright Reads like we did last year. Harry's accepting it's gonna be 2 days this year instead of one.
Oh yeah.
Um, Balticon, which is downtown. It's gonna be at the Renaissance Hotel. It's like a sci-fi fantasy convention.
Right, you and Josh like know all of the events. I'm like, yeah, I just need to tap in with you guys. Josh sent me some, and I think I sent him the map technologies joint, but I need to get up with you to get some more like a list. I think there's one in like Hunt Valley at some point.
Yeah, they have one. I think they have their own Comic-Con. Ocean City, I did pretty well when I went to Ocean City. I think that's going to be in December again. Um, yeah, I don't know what else for comics.
Right.
I mean, yeah, but Map Technology, they do comic book days there maybe every couple of months.
Mhm.
They do art walks that I participate in as well.
Right.
Um, yeah,
I'll
I think
be
that's, and then I think they may do No Land Beyond may do another like weekend thing that they did last year. No, it's called No Con Beyond. So it's like their own little convention that they have at their bar, which is a gaming bar. And I did pretty well there too. Um, I think the tables are actually free, but it's first come, first serve. So yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because they make all their money off of the liquor that they sell. So
Really? Oh,
um,
there's some video game night last weekend, last Friday.
yeah, they did have a video game there. I didn't have the time to go. So, but they have stuff there all the time. So I'll be back down there. But is there anything else that you wanted to share, Adam?
Nah, buy my stuff, buy my books, stuff. Or actually, no, you can literally read. Yo, if anybody wants to read my stuff, you just go to Instagram, go to any social media, and like hit the link tree, and like both of these are available to read for free on our website. So, you
Yeah,
know,
both Offspring and Project Angel.
also Project Angel. Also follow Resolved Comics Official. Like that's yeah, if you're interested in the toys who walk, if you want to read comics about sentient toys who got to dodge animals and drones and stuff, and you know definitely follow us and yeah, stay locked in with us.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank the writer and creator of the comic series Offspring, Adam Downing from BreakThru Comics, for joining us here today to promote the series' newly released issue 2. All of Adam's socials, as he's mentioned, and his link tree will be listed in this episode's details for those who are interested in reading more about Offspring and Project Angel, the series. Again, I'm KS Garner, and you've been listening to the Solo Nerdbird podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.